Hello everyone, welcome back to part 2 of my Beltmatic playthrough. I don't know how long I'm going to continue to play this, but I'm enjoying factory stuff. And here's something that I bet was in a lot of comments. I haven't read them because the video... Well, I guess at the time I'm recording this, the video is published, but like 5 minutes ago or something. I couldn't figure out why on the upgrade screen, like I can't click here, here's what I need to build. Just like when I discovered the upgrade screen, I didn't understand why there was this number here. I finally realized, oh, you're supposed to deliver some ones to get upgrades. And then now I've delivered enough ones and I can't click here still. And it says deliver more. Deliver more what? I don't know. I couldn't figure it out. I thought maybe there was like, you got to get to level 11 to upgrade your belts anymore. But there's another number right here. You got to deliver 16s, obviously, to get belts faster. So I don't know why I just can't see these numbers, like they don't exist to me. Oh, you know what? I guess I stopped the video saying I was gonna like not make you guys wait until enough 15s were delivered or something, but I like stopped. I saved the game and quit, and so like we still don't have enough 15s. Or no, we had enough 15. We got enough 15s. No, that can't have been what was finishing the level, right? I guess I was waiting for 31s? I don't really know what was happening. Apparently, the 15s that I'm delivering are useful. But, anyway, it doesn't matter. So, I think that before we start on 49s, we should invest in a belt upgrade at least, and... 16s look pretty easy to make, right? You just double something up a bunch of times. And that'll increase... Well... It'll increase the throughput of stuff that isn't dependent on adders, I guess. Namely my 1s and 2s. Or there isn't bottleneck on that. Oh, do I have the ability to build 5s now? I do, okay. Cool. Oh yeah, and I have multipliers. That's true. So if I just had 2 4s, for example, I could multiply them. So that's one, like, I think big change that multipliers introduce is that for everything we've been building with adders, the throughput is like limited by how like adding up the numbers that you see on the map and like okay multiplying by your belt speed, but ultimately if you have a 4 and a 4 that doubles. Like if I had another 4 here and let's ask a different question. If I had a second 4 producing, if I had this 4 producing and another 4 that wasn't doing anything, I could add as many adders as I wanted, and I still wouldn't get more than, like, the 2 belts worth of 15s I'm getting today. You need to add a second 4, and then your throughput of 15s will be doubled, provided you build enough adders and multipliers to make use of the extra capacity. So, like, if you assume you have unlimited adders and multipliers already set up, then your throughput is basically just the sum of all the stuff you're extracting multiplied by some constant, which is your extraction efficiency. That's not true anymore with multipliers. The different ways you could construct 16 have different efficiencies, different raw mineral costs, I guess. Raw material costs, let's call it. Like, we could take this 4 and just, like, multiply them together. And that seems, I mean, honestly, like a pretty good idea. I don't mean to say it's a genius idea that only a genius would think of, but, like, it seems like a pretty good way to do things. We could also take a 5 times a 3 and add a 1. That would be fine. But, like, how many Like, you don't need that many 16s, right? 500 of them? So if we just, like, take... Is there a 4 around that's any closer that I'm not using? There's this one or this one. This one's kind of out of the way, I guess. But it's near a 5, which I bet is useful. Let's take this one. And I have somewhere, a blueprint for multiplying stuff. 0.3, so I don't know. So we'll have 3 per second at some point. So we would need 9 multipliers to satisfy that demand. Give or take, I guess call it 10. It would be exactly 10. So sure, we can take well, except this isn't a thing with 2 inputs. I could build, okay, let's just build a new thing for multiplying something with itself. Well, no, I want 2 inputs, right? Both from this 4. Why not? We'll get more throughput that way. So, but it would be sort of nice if they were both. You don't want them both on the same side, do you? Because of the way this is all built. You kind of need one on top and one on bottom, right? If they were both on this side, you couldn't really cross over to the A without using up this space that you have for output, I think. Unless you increase the gap between them to 2, and like I don't know what the point of that would be. Okay. So I guess I actually do want basically this. And I want 10 of them, I said? 6, 10. And you can just do this, and we get a big pile of 16s. It seems to me that at some point you run out of space to run stuff into the base, so you can only have so many belts going in at a time. I imagine you'll have your belt speed in, like, your total extraction capacity will be high enough that, like, 1 belt worth of stuff is still quite a large amount. And so even if you want to put in, like, more... How many edges do we have right now? 24. So if you want to put in more than 24 different numbers, you have to share belts, which means you can't be inputting more than 1 belt worth of stuff at a time. But you can compensate for that by just making your belts faster. Like right now I have 2 belts worth of 1s. And if I ever have to cut down to 1 belt worth of 1s, it might seem, oh, my number 1's coming in, we'll have to reduce. But we can, yes, the number of belts of 1s going in will be reduced, but the total number of 1s will not. Okay, so the 16s are coming in just fine. It's less than a full belt, which... Is it? Actually, 2.5 per second. Oops. Well, that's a belt. Okay, there was some backup while we were waiting to get to a steady state, and I guess there are still occasional little hiccups. But okay, we're getting out a belt of 16s. Fine. And so if we ever speed up belt production, which we will do soon, that'll speed up extraction, and we'll just need, like, we'll be putting in less than a full belt because the multipliers won't be keeping up anymore, I guess. But that's fine, who cares? Let's see, what else can we work on? 11s? Making our belts faster would be nice. Yeah, I mean, that seems like more fun than working on 49. I love, like, production speed improvements, right? Stuff that pays off, that pays for itself. Ways to scale stuff up so that future goals will be achieved more quickly. If we really wanted to be able to extract sixes, we could do that. But instead, I think we should just... I mean, this cluster here is a really nice way to make 11, right? 5 times 2 plus 1. Seems like the natural way to do it. We could instead do 5 plus 5 plus 1. But there's this 2 lying around here. We might as well use it, right? Or maybe this 1. Yeah, because that's kind of on the way back to the base, right? Or this one. But this one's... I'll use this. So extract these bad boys. Give me a multiplication thingy to go here. And we're only going to have 1 belt worth of this stuff, it seems. But I guess that's how much we have of this, of course. Of course, 1 belt worth is fine. Because I only really want to truck 1 belt worth out. So, sure. So here's our 10 factory. I have a thing for addition lying around. Yeah, like this, right? Oh, I heard a ding dong. You guys don't have the sounds, but I do. And it told me we can upgrade our belts. It all goes faster. So this will mess up all of our ratios, but I don't think it's a big deal. It's going to want 63s. Okay. So, plug in the 1s. Oops, get in there. So this should eventually be a belt of 11s, right? Or less than a belt, because our belts... Now that our belts are faster, this number of adders isn't actually sufficient to saturate an input, but that's okay. Same thing about multipliers here. So what exactly am I doing this for again? Faster belts. Oh, wait. Our belt... Right. No, hang on. What? Oh, I see. Right. This sped up our belts. And this will increase how many belts you can get out of an extractor. So that won't actually do anything for us at the moment. Not even close. Because there's no place that we're using... Well, that... we have the capacity, really, to pull 3 full belts out of a single extractor. We haven't built up the machinery around it yet. I guess there's an interesting decision at some point here where you're going to have to invent the notion of intermediate products, right? Because like right now I have a factory for 1s, a factory for 2s, a factory for 3s, a factory for 15s. I have 16s, I have 11s, and I have like 31s that nobody wants. And like, okay, factories in quotes for the 1s and 2s, but nobody, they're not really very impressive factories. And they're all totally independent. So once I start needing to make big numbers, like at some point, it's going to kind of suck to set up a whole new factory for, 273s or whatever. Is that divisible by anything? Must be divisible by 3. Because 270 is 90 times 3. So this must be 91 times 3? Anyway. But at some point, like, you know, I could put together a little factory that makes 15s, for example, way more quickly than I need them for building my multiplier thingies. And I might just like want to ship some of those excess 15s to other factories to make it easier to kickstart a big number than having to build it all out of little, you know, to build a brand new factory for everything. On the other hand, I think I was reading the reviews. It must have been the reviews. So I mentioned that I knew we would eventually get division and subtraction. And I wasn't sure what else. I noticed there are 4 gaps here. Someone in the Steam reviews mentioned exponentiation. So that presumably is one of these 2. With exponentiation, you don't really need to ship around huge numbers. You can just make them pretty easily. You know, 2 to the 2 to the 4 or whatever is 65,000. So, and that's only 2, you know, 3 relative, I guess, you know, it uses really just the 2, right? Because you can extract 3 belts out of the 2, combine 2 of them to get a 4, and combine that with another. I guess it uses 4 belts? Because I want 2 to the 2 to the 2 times 2. Anyway, whatever. 4 belts, fine. You could just out of a 2 get a huge number with exponentiation. So maybe this idea of shipping around intermediate products isn't actually all that important, and I should just focus on building numbers independently and then shipping the results home. Anyway, where were we? We're almost done with the 11s. That's nice. But again, as I say, not actually doing anything. How about 18s? Well, we're shipping 15s and 3s. We could just siphon off some of the 15s and add them to the 3s if we wanted. I have way more 3s than I need. And way more 2s. But, like, why not just make an 18? Like, here's 3 and 5. I mean, honestly, here's another 3. Because we have 3 belts worth that we could extract out of this 3. We're not getting full value out of it yet, right? Hey, upgrade. Our extractors are better. Yeah, so it's going to want a 93, whatever. Is there any discernible pattern in this? Can I understand how these work? I think no, right? Like 1, 2, 3, 16, 11, 18. I think if you look this up in the OEIS, you're going to get no hits. The Online Encyclopedia of Integer Sequences. It does tell me here, like what I will eventually want to make for the next level goal, but it doesn't tell me about upcoming upgrade numbers. Still, working on adders and multipliers seems like a worthwhile investment. It'll speed up everything without any extra effort. Whereas faster belts and more extractors, you know, that requires changes to our blueprints, so to speak. Everything is going through adders or multipliers, and just making those faster will, because we're currently bottlenecked on adders and multipliers, I think, speeding these up should speed up pretty much everything. So, 18s. We could take like 5 times 3, add 3. Seems okay. Is there another good way to do this? Like a 3 and a 2, I guess? 3 times 3 times 2? Well, there's a 6 right there. That saves the larger number, the 5, I guess. And it does stuff with multiplication rather than addition, so we get a little bit more... a higher ratio of output products to input products. So 3s and 2s seems better to me. So if we take 2 belts worth of 2, of 3, and 2 belts worth of 1, which we combine into 1 belt worth of 2, that'll be exactly like our prime factorization, perfectly balanced, right? So let's do that. I already have a blueprint for addition. Don't reinvent the wheel. It's right over here. Sure, let's do it like that, I guess. So that's a belt-ish of 2s. And we have a multiply chunk here. I think we should actually... Can I fit these like this? How tall is this? 5? Yeah, there's room for that. So I should try to keep this factory a little bit more self-contained. So let's... Well, I guess I want something like this, right? So the 2s are going to be one input to this. And one of my 3s is going to be the other. No, it's not. Stop. I'll just make a 9 and 2 times 9. That way, yeah. So if we take this and flip it to run the other direction. Then we can have 3s go in like that. And another set of 3s go in like this. The 9s come out here. And we get 18s with a nice little rectangular footprint. This is why I wish we had mirroring. Is there some reason we can't have mirroring? I don't know, instead of just rotation. In Factorio, you couldn't... Well, I guess you can now. I haven't kept up, but I've read some of the Friday fun facts. You can mirror stuff now. You couldn't because not all buildings were... like they didn't have rotationally symmetric sprites for all the buildings or something like that. As I gather, these days you can actually rotate or mirror stuff, but I haven't played since then. And in this game, though, it seems like you absolutely could. Right? Why not? I'm not missing something in the controls, am I? I see rotate pipette. Oh, how is that different from copy? Interesting. I mean, I guess it's the Factorio pipette, which they put on Q. Makes sense, just like Factorio. Belt priority? Not sure what that's about yet. So are we getting a belt of 18s? I feel like we should be. Right? Or no, because we upgraded our belt throughput and we haven't upgraded our multiplier output, but we used the same old blueprint for multiplying stuff. So we should be getting a bit less than a belt of 18s, I thought. But actually, maybe I'm wrong. Okay, whatever. We have delivered 9 of them. Congratulations. It's just a long walk. We're building them pretty quickly. But also, like, getting to 5K, that's going to take a while. No, 1.5K. It'll take a while, but... Okay, can we make 28s? How would a 28 look? I mean, 7 times 4, obviously, would be one way to do it. Um, 27 plus 1? 3 cubed plus 1? I mean, there's a 3, a 1, and a 4 here, and those are the numbers you would need to make 28. In various ways, right? You could add the 4 to the 3 and multiply by the 4. That gets you there. And I was also talking about 3 cubed plus 1. So it would be 3 belts of 3s and 1 belt of 1s. Versus 2 belts of 4s, 1 belt of 3s. I mean, I'm not sure whether I should be trying to preserve my 1s or my 4s. Preserve in the sense of, like, I don't know, leave extra output of them lying around. Or, like, at some point, these extractors, I assume, are sort of going to become... I don't know. Like, look how big the world is. Maybe I just shouldn't worry about it. Yeah, 3 times 4 plus 4 seems nice, I guess. Or, well, 3 times... No. 3 plus 4 times 4. So let's just do that. Am I going to want this 6 for anything anytime soon? I don't know. Who could say? Is this... Yeah, this is a totally normal blueprint. So I wanted to add 3 and 4 and then multiply by 4. So run things this way, though. So 3 and 4. Go grab my multiplier factory, which the most recent one, and therefore the one I must most like, is over here. Which one do I want? One that takes things both from the right and goes left, if I have one of those lying around. It's this one. So we just run this into here. And this here. And we get out the 28s. Where is the hub? There it is. So we are sort of running out of space to funnel stuff in there, but I think we can just take out some of the belts of 2s or 1s or 3s or something. Which one do we need less of? I don't know. I mean, we're making way more 2s and 3s than we're ever going to need, because the 11s are going to take more effort. So let's just rip out one of the 3 inputs. Oh, I want the extractor back, if that's okay. Ah! Now, like, I guess there's not really a better way to make 3 than adding 1 and 2, except that we could probably find a 3 lying around somewhere. So maybe one day we'll get rid of this, but for now, there's our 28s. And that gets, once all the backlog is propagated, all of our stuff upgraded to like tier 3. If you assume it's like tier 1, then you upgrade to 2, you upgrade to 3. So we should maybe start working on a 49 now. And actually, I do have a 7 factory just lying around that I just made, don't I? So I could just... The thing is that it takes 2 belts worth of 4s to get... Well, no, that's not true. To get 28, it costs 2 belts worth of 4s. But to get a 7, it's just 1. So to get 7s... And the thing is, are they ever going to ask me for, like, 49s again? I don't know. But I guess there's not much need to take apart a factory. Just, like, tear out the thing that connects it to the hub. And then if you ever want to reuse that number again, you have the factory lying there. And if you want to reuse the inputs, well, you can delete the factory at that point, right? So a 3 and a 4 next to each other would be happy. And we have that here. But we would be oversubscribed to this 4 if we tried to use it to make a 49, right? Because we only get 3 belts worth out of an extractor. And we're using 2 here, and it would be 2 more to make 7 squared. So this would be another 4 that we could... Oh, God. That's so spaghetti, right? To take this 4 and... Oh, it has a spare belt. Let's run it over here to the 4 times 3. It's very efficient, though. Right? And it perfectly subscribes this 4 and this 3 and uses up the leftover from this 4. It's going to look kind of stupid once we have 4 belts worth from extractors. Although, kind of annoyingly, as soon as we have 49 completed, we'll be able to use 6s. And then, like... There's a 6 over here somewhere, isn't there? It was near a 1, I thought. Here it is, yeah. Then 6 plus 1 squared makes a much more reasonable... Well, no, it's about the same as 3 times 4, I guess. 3 plus 4 squared. All right, I mean, let's do it. Let's build the spaghetti. We're here to have fun, right? So give me... an adder factory. And let's run it this way. Hey, ding dong. Our adders are faster. And I'm not even going to figure out the ratios. I don't know. Maybe I will, since I'm just starting a new thing and I just upgraded adders. So we have 3 per second. It's still about 8 adders, right? Like 7.5 adders to satisfy a belt. 8 is a good number to be building. Okay. So if I take my last input of 4s here, and one of my inputs of 3s, that makes a 7. And let's do this again to make... Oh gosh, it's so... I could never... I could never really stick very well to the kind of, the what do they call it? Main bus, I guess, in Factorio, where you like really should just have little spokes off of the bus and then run everything. I don't know. And everything just always sort of develops into spaghetti for me because there's not really like where exactly do I put the multiplier? I can run these two towards each other, that's fine. And then run the multiplier up, but then like to get it back down, it just sort of looks stupid. I don't know. Let's do this. There's a 3. Ooh, hang on. Is there a cut? Yeah. Let me just scoot this over a tiny bit. I anticipate I'll need this space a bit more. So there's my 3s. And my last group of 4s. Oh, I could be really psychotic, I guess. And run the 2 input belts in opposite directions. Right? Actually, maybe I just run them both to the left? That would be ideal, but then I'd have to... I mean, how hard would that be? Can I just... If I just do this, does it work? Yeah. So... Okay. Wait. There's not an undo button? Well, okay, this kind of is annoying. I think I could have just drawn a belt over the existing belt and it would have preserved the bridges correctly, but I got confused. So maybe I don't need this space as much as I thought. So there's my last 3. And run the 4s in like that. And we get our 7s. Let's take the multiplier factories that we know and love. Ratios, really? Well, before too long, we expect 0.4 per second. So it's still like 8 multipliers, right? How many have I been building? More than 8. Weird. Yeah. So if I build this, but I change the output direction to go like this. Let's, I guess, come down here. Okay, that's the rough direction I want stuff to go in. Let's feed the inputs in now. And we're going to cut off one of our 2 inputs. I wish you could build belts like backwards, the way in Factorio you say. I want a leftward pointing belt starting here, and then you just kind of drag. But you can't do that, and so you have to be... I don't know. Nope, a little further. There's my 49s. Do I have a full belt? I feel like I should. Ah, no, I don't, because my multipliers are actually only 0.3 at the moment, so they're not keeping up. But when I get enough 28s, this will suddenly be correct. Okay. Given that, I guess we can start thinking about how to build 50. But I'm building a 49 right now. We could just add a 1 to this. Well, that's not very interesting. And I think that is what I want to do, because I won't need the 49 anymore. And I have a spare 1 just lying around. Yeah, I mean, let's just build that. So like that, I guess. God, that's taking up way too much space too close to the base. Even running the 1 line over to the 49 line makes me unhappy. Do I have a 1 lying around? I do. So let's just use this 1, I guess. And at the moment, we don't actually need any 50s. So I won't connect this yet. So I don't want to cut off my 49 supply. But we're now ready to start like producing 50s instantly. And actually, given that I don't need the 49s, I can just do this, right? And as soon as I start making 49s, I can just delete this section of... Start making 50s. Delete this section of belt. And I have a little detour here for the 49s. That's cute. And that'll be any second now. I'm going to pour myself some water. So why don't you guys go get a drink or something? Nothing is going to happen for a minute or so. Or I don't know, less than a minute. A few seconds. Hope you took a very short bathroom break. Belt priorities. So what would you want belt... Okay, let's start making 500s first. Or 50s first, I mean. What do you want belt priorities for? This is basically side loading in Factorio, right? But why do you need that when you have splitters for free that don't take up any space? Yeah, what do you want side loading for? Would it be helpful in cases where you don't like have your ratios right, and you know you need like a million 63s, but you just need like some fives on occasion, and so if the 63 factory is full, you want to divert some inputs to the fives or whatever. But otherwise, you should always try to. I mean, I guess I just don't understand why that's that great a thing. Multipliers, go faster. To our first like serious number, sort of. What is there anything I'm producing for no reason? 31s. Okay. That's true. There is no reason for these. What could I do with a 31? Or should I just throw the factory away? Double it and add 1 to get 63, I guess. It's not bad. We need a lot of 63s, I assume. 1.5K. So we're not making 31s very quickly. And if we made them, if we turned them into 32s made half as quickly, it would be like 2,000 seconds until we had enough 31s. It's like almost an hour. Doesn't seem like a great way to approach things. Maybe it's half an hour, whatever. Still almost an hour from the right point of view. I mean, this is the next upgrade that I'd like to work on. Maybe, although what are we asked for next here? It sort of depends what they give me for the next level up, right? Maybe I'd rather build 68s. Double it and add 6. Still a very inefficient way to do it. Boy, we're making a lot of ones. All right, extract. Oh, priorities. Okay, so why? Set priorities by clicking the belt intersection. Why? That's the thing I don't get yet. I haven't once built in. Well, okay, I don't know. This is the blub paradox, I guess. Is it a paradox? So there's a. Is it called the blub paradox? Let me look that up before I explain what it is. Blub. Yeah. Okay, I mean, wow. It has an entry in Wiktionary, but not Wikipedia? So it's a thing, I don't know, this is not really related to this game, but it sort of is. It's a thing from programming, and especially, I think, more academically minded languages. You know, the blub paradox is part of their mythos. It's kind of a way to sneer at programmers of mainstream languages, but I don't think it's entirely false either. You just have to sort of take it with, I don't know. So the idea is, you have this programming language everyone uses called blub, right? They don't want to make fun of any specific language. You can imagine something like, I'm sure when the blub paradox was written, was first conceived of, I don't know, were they thinking of C at the time, or was it before that? Was it after? I don't know. These days people probably think of Java or maybe Python. And I don't know, Java's a good target. There's this programming language called blub that just the everyday workaday programmer uses. And it has all the features they've ever wanted, right? You can use it to build programs that do the things they want to do. It expresses the ideas that they have. and there's not really any problem. Like, you could complain about some syntax or some things that could be a little more convenient, but there's not really anything serious missing in Blub. It's good enough for everyday use, and it's not missing anything, says the Blub programmer. And Blub programmers can look down at something less powerful, like, a Java programmer can look down at C, a much less powerful, more low-level language. Well, powerful depends on your point of view. A language with fewer features, for sure. And say, how could you ever use this? It doesn't have classes. It doesn't have closures. I don't think the lack of... I don't know. I'm steeped in functional thinking these days, and so I think the lack of classes is not such a big deal. Class is a very confusing concept that kind of does everything. But like, when I look at C, I think, how could I use this? It doesn't have closures even, right? You have to simulate them by hand all the time. Everything's awful. And so a Blub programmer can look down on a less powerful language and see it's missing all these key features. But, there are languages with more features than Blub, and you look up at those, and, they're always in their ivory tower saying, oh, Mega Blub is amazing. It's got, this cool feature. And the Blub programmers are like, I don't know why I would ever need that. I get by just fine with Blub. It doesn't have that feature, and I don't think I've ever needed it. And the problem with that point of view is that, well, yeah, you're not used to thinking that way. But if you did get used to thinking that way, you could have more expressive thoughts, and the presence of that feature in your language will enable you to write programs that are better in whatever way. They're safer, they're more expressive, they're shorter, whatever feature, Mega Blub has, the Blub doesn't have. But the Blub programmer doesn't see those because he's not used to thinking that way, he or she. Here it's me, so I can say he. And my point was, I was just thinking about the Blub paradox when it gave me these splitter or belt priorities. Why would I want that? I don't know. I'm too stupid to understand why I would need that. Like, can you actually build logic out of that? Or is it just prioritizing for cases when you have more or less than full belts and your ratios are wrong? I don't know. We no longer need 50s, right? We now have 50s and 31s. Great. 50 plus 31 plus 2? Anybody? I don't know. Like, I don't need to extract... Are there even any 7s in the universe? I guess there are. They're grayed out. I mean, do the numbers just... Does the map go on forever and there are just bigger and bigger numbers out there? I guess there are. Like, look at that. That's a 39. Okay, so you could take me home, please. You could kind of go on forever unlocking more bigger numbers. And I assume if we're like extracting 7s is our next unlock, then extracting like 500, even 63s, it must be years away. I'm never going to get to, or extract 30s or whatever it was I saw down there. 39, I think. It's just years away. I'm not going to play this game long enough to get that shit unlocked. You got to make so many different numbers, man. I want to, like, learn new ideas. Give me unlocks of this stuff. By the way, looking here, you can see that we have too many multipliers. Or more than we need. I'm not going to delete them because I'm not using the space for anything. And, it's free to just keep them lying around, and someday my belt speed will go up, and it'll be nice to have these multipliers lying around. But we're producing a full belt of 28s without ever using these 4 multipliers. These 7s have just been sitting here because these multipliers can't ever get their output out because the belt is full already. And that's all fine. I'm not upset about that or anything. But it's just, this is something you can see and be like, okay, I understand the problem is our ratios are wrong. We have more multipliers than we need, or alternatively, fewer belts than we need. What if you used like belt priorities to, if I click, it would be like click here or what? I don't understand where you can even, there we go. So on inputs, when you split outputs, can you do that? No. That's what even, I mean, why? Why couldn't I say, if it's possible to go this way, like north from here, then go that way? That wouldn't be any great improvement for me here. But it would let me make sure this multiplier is saturated before I start using this one. And in that way, we can make sure no inputs ever get further than they would need. Like, this wouldn't build, I don't know, whatever. Doesn't matter. I just don't understand what the priorities are for. I can't even do it here. Where was I able to do it? I'm so confused. What is this for? I can put it there. Why? What does it mean to do this? So this means prefer letting the 7s go through. Don't let this one out unless there's space. And this means the opposite. Make sure this guy gets out. Neither of those seems any better to me. Well, I was hoping to unlock a new operation. I guess I spent a lot of time working on infrastructure. Just getting bigger numbers is not that exciting. So I have to make... I actually have to look over here. It's 68, huh? So what is 68? It's 34 times 2. Which is 17 times 4. Four times 4 plus 1 times 4? That uses 3 belts worth of 4s, which we can currently extract comfortably from a single 4. I mean, that seems like a simple enough factory. In fact, don't I have one like that lying around somewhere? This. It's really similar to this, but it's not quite the same, right? Because I have to do the multiplication of... I have this imagine this were a 4. What would I have coming out of this? It would be 16. Yeah, so instead of adding the 1 to itself, I'd have to add it to another 4. I mean, I think it's similar enough that I'll just copy this and make some small edits. And of course the extractors will have to change as well. I'll put it here. Like that. Just aesthetically, let's get rid of the thing that accepts from the left when there's nothing there. So there's our 16. Oh god, it's already going in there, isn't it? I don't have anything to multiply you by. Okay, hang on. All right, let's just cut that and paste, and now I don't have any contamination. So what is it that I want? Let's get this out of the way. And I guess over here is where I want the 16s to go. The other input is 1s. Yeah, 17 times 4, that's what I want. So this needs to go like that, right? So our 17s go there. And the last group of 4s come in like that, yeah? And we get our... Oh my god, the routing, man. Come down here. Yeah, I guess we want to go left of all this. Yeah, let's scoot a little bit to the left before I head down. Sure, that looks pretty good. One less to the left than that, I guess? Anyway, this is why I'm saying it would be nice to be able to trace a belt from the south. A southward pointing belt traced from the north, right? Or traced from the south, rather. There you go, 68s. Nice compact little 68 factory. Using way more multipliers than I need still. What are we supposed to do next? Let's start on that while we wait. 123. 123. I mean, that is divisible by 3. 41 times 3 would be the prime factorization, I guess. But that's not the only way to make it, right? You could, multiply 12 by 10 and then add 3 or something, right? How would we make 41? It kind of sucks. I have a 68 that I'm not going to be using anymore. But doubling it is too much. What would we need to add to it to get 123? You would need 55? I mean, 11 times 5 is not impossible to construct. But it's very ad hoc. Like, we're not going to need these 68s anymore is the thing, right? So trying to find another use for them is kind of like, well, why not just... throw them away and build a different way to make 123. I don't know. There's a 5 here. What did I say? It was 41 times 3? Well, 41 is 5 times 4 times 2 plus 1. Or it's 6 times 6 plus 5 times 3? That's simple enough, I guess. Sure. I have the power to make 6s now. So let's go get a reasonably sized block of multipliers. Isn't there one around here somewhere, or are they all fucking huge for no reason? This one's at least close to reasonable. It's 9. No, it's 10. What? How many do I need these days? 0.4. I need 9. There you go. That's my 9 multiplier block. Went way too far. 6 times 6 plus 5, right? What the hell is this? Okay, so I guess I want it to go this way. It's facing, everything's facing the wrong way. So what if I paste this down and I do this? Yeah, they understand. And if I do this, they understand that as well. Okay. So there's my 36s. Oh, bing bong. Oh yeah, this is just make 123s now. So go grab a block of adders as, oops, the whole thing, please. A block of adders. Do it upside down? No, just mirror it, I guess is what I want. So if I... Wait. Oh, this doesn't really make sense, does it? Well, it kind of would in a different context. So I want to run it this way, though. Oops, no, stop. Don't go there. So I'm getting out my 41s now. And let's grab this again. This looks like an okay rotation. Let's just move this up a bit, I guess. There you go. And my 3s here. Oh, I needed to copy one a little bit more, didn't I? Because these don't have the pointing up outputs. I have to do this. Okay, noted. Good, but there's our 123. Not hard. Oh, that's way too far. Well, you know what? Let's just draw the line like this and then draw it again in the other direction. And that way I can trace it the direction I said I wanted to, but it actually goes the other way. That's fine. So I'd like to see what happens if you work on the next one before you're actually asked for it. Like, I know I'm going to need 280s, right? Can I get any 280s in there before I'm done with my 123s? And if so, does that count for anything? 280. Well, that's 28 times 10, right? Am I using these 28s? I am. Okay, well, what's 28 times 10? What are other ways to factorize that? Well, it's 4 times 7 times 10, which is 8 times 7 times 5. So 2 cubed times 5 times 7. I'm not sure how useful it is to do that prime factorization, though. It's still not going to give me anything new to do, huh? Okay, well, I guess we'll call the video here then. And maybe next video, I think I'm not doing any more of this stuff right away. So I'm going to focus on just dumping more level goals in here and see if we can unlock something new. More than just extracting bigger numbers, because that doesn't seem like a very important thing to do. I mean, it made this simpler than it would have been otherwise. If I had to do with like 1s and 2s, it would be kind of annoying. Well, anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.